This massive mill building in the heart of Central Falls has undergone a transformation over the past decade. A big space once used to manufacture Argyle socks and Ace bandages is now home to dozens of smaller businesses.
There's probably about 55, 60 small tenants here now. Most of them are art studios and woodworking shops and screen printers and things like that.
Like any landlord, owner Gerald Adams has to keep a close eye on overhead expenses while keeping his tenants happy. Electricity has been typically expensive, but it's the sewer bill from the Narragansett Bay Commission that has caught Adams' attention over the past several years.
I started calculating, because I could see it just by paying my bills month to month, that they seemed like they were going up before. Now they're even asking for more money.
When Adams began crunching the numbers, he found double-digit increases in some years.
I could see a 2%, 3% sort of cost of living increase every year, to be fair, but when you jump up to 9, 10%, each year it's just getting out of hand.
Adams is one of 80,000 customers in 8 communities surrounding Providence, served by the Bay Commission. That's close to 360,000 people, more than a third of the entire state. The Hummel report found that since 2001, rates have more than tripled, primarily because of a 3-phase underground combined sewer overflow project that has already cost $500 million. That and upgrades to 2 treatment plants are required by the federal government through the Clean Water Act. It's a mandate without funding from the feds. We first reported on the CSO project 3 years ago, and the consensus was, and still is, the quality of the water in both the Providence River and Narragansett Bay has improved dramatically, the primary goal of the project. It comes, though, at a steep cost to ratepayers.
We hear from the ratepayers that it's becoming more and more difficult to pay their bills.
Executive Director Ray Marshall has monitored the project and the cost since 2001.
We knew that it was going to be very expensive. I think that we had a general idea of how much it was going to cost and the impacts it was going to have, but until you really get into these projects, you don't really or can't fully appreciate exactly what all the cost aspects to it are.
There's really no getting around as you sit around the table, you crunch the numbers, you try to save as much as you can. Whatever that bottom line is, goes back to the ratepayers.
That's right.
I could see with a regular homeowner, if their bill went up $15, $20, $25, it's not as noticeable. Plus you're paying it over 12 months, so it's a couple dollars a month, right?
And that may be why there hasn't been more of an outcry. Last week, the Public Utilities Commission, which must approve the Bay Commission's rate increases, held a hearing attended by a grand total of 1 person.
This agency has gone up way more than other state agencies, and I think enough is enough because homeowners are really struggling.
Barry Schiller, who owns a home in North Providence, asked how the PUC could approve such hefty increases.
With this building, I'm paying $8,000 to $10,000 a year in sewer fees, and there aren't really even any large water users in the building. It's just toilets and hand washing, so it's not that much.
The numbers tell the story. In 2001, the average residential customer was paying $168 a year. With another projected 5% increase, that same customer will pay $550 this coming year, a bill that's more than tripled in just over a decade. Marshall says the skyrocketing rates have caused a reassessment of the big picture within the Bay Commission. He says they are considering asking the feds for permission to delay Phase 3, which would extend up the Seekonk River to the Blackstone River, with an estimated price tag of another $200 to $300 million. It is supposed to begin in 2017 and be completed in 2021.
There's a huge benefit to having a sparkling clean bay, which is what our goal is by spending all this money. The question I think that's a really good question to ask is that at this point, how much cleaner do you want it to be? Where do we reach the point where the public says it's not worth spending or making it any cleaner?
Are you at that point yet?
I think we're reaching the point where we should have that discussion.
Marshall says the Bay Commission rates are in the middle of the pack nationally, but acknowledges that's little comfort to the ratepayers in Rhode Island.
It's kind of hard to tell somebody who's had a $165 bill that,
Right.
well, you're not paying as much as the guy in Cleveland or San Francisco or Miami, and you got a pretty good deal. That's a tough sell, isn't it?
It is. It's very difficult because no matter where you live, you still have the right to check. And if I cared about what was happening in San Francisco, I live there.
Marshall also said the comparison is skewed because some larger cities facing budget problems have put off beginning their sewer overflow projects, and that the Narragansett Bay Commission is almost 2/3 complete.
Hartford's a good example. Hartford has a program that's going to be, I think, something that approaches $2 billion. And they're just getting started on there. So whatever their rates are, they're going to be dramatically different 5 to 10 years from now.
In Rhode Island, the question for the feds is a simple one.
Can we stop now? And EPA's response is, present the case to us and we'll consider whether we'll allow you to delay the projects for a number of years until you can, and this is my phrase, not theirs, until you can catch your breath.
It's a breather the ratepayers could use as well. In Providence, Jim Hummel for the Hummel Report.
The